Welcome to Automate Your Agency. Every week, we bring you expert insights, practical tips, and success stories that will help you streamline your business operations and boost your growth. Let's get started on your journey to more efficient and scalable operations. All right, Micah, I've been thinking about password security. Maybe not the most exciting conversation, but I think it's really important.
I don't know. I woke up this morning, I was like, man, I hope we can talk about some password security on our podcast today.
Well, it's scary how many times we get emailed people's login information. I'm just like hands on my face, my mouth is open. I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you're not worried about sending this through email? I'm worried for you."
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, if you listen to nothing else in this episode, just remember email is insecure. Don't send credit cards, don't send passwords, don't send login information. It can get hacked. People can get access to your stuff. Don't do it.
Yeah. And there's ways to send things securely with like one-time password or sharing from your password vault or something like that. But even Micah, you and I, back with our previous agency at first, I don't know if you remember this. So this was probably maybe 2000, 2008. I can't remember exactly the time frame, but we saved all of our client login information, even in a Google spreadsheet that we shared with our team. That is, and we locked it so they couldn't change it, but they certainly had access to all the data right there.
Yeah. Yeah. I do. Now that you mention it, I do remember that. At the time, security wasn't like the biggest deal that it is now.
Yeah.
It was still a big deal. It was still a big deal, but it was like, I don't know, maybe we were just not educated as much as we should have been for what we were doing.
Yeah, and it was you one day came in and you're like, "We can't do this anymore. We are going to use a password vault." Well, whatever do you mean a password vault? And so at the time it was LastPass that we moved to, and it wasn't even a security like stress reliever. It was I just had to go to the site and the password was saved. And it would
Yes.
like, I didn't have even personally for me, I no longer had to keep track of passwords anymore. It kept track
Oh
of it
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, so I think maybe just to clarify, a password vault is a secure place that you can save your passwords, but it's a little bit more than that because not only can you securely save your passwords, you're able to organize them. So you could create a set of passwords for each client and have that organized really easily. But then you can install the browser extensions for these things. And when you go to that site to fill it out, it's going to auto populate the fields. It's
It's
amazing.
wonderful. Yeah, it's wonderful.
Yeah.
And you can have settings on there to where if it is a shared folder, like a client folder where maybe you have a few different team members that have access to it for logging in for whatever reason, they can't see the password. It's the little bullets that it shows. So they can just click that client, autofill in the login information, and then they're in, but they don't see the password.
Yeah. There's no way for them to copy it, there's no way for them to see it. So you have an extra layer of security, even stronger than just securely sharing it and giving somebody access to it. They don't even get access to it, but they can still get in the platform or whatever login they're trying to get into.
Yeah, and most of these have like a you have a company one where you can set these folders and who has access to the folders and all of these things. But as a nice little extra component is this employee only side. So it's just you personally can save your passwords in there. So thinking like how Micah, you or I use it, even login information for the travel sites, like if we're need to log into Delta or something like that, like all of my passwords are saved in there so that I'm not, you know what, Micah, just thinking about emailing passwords. Do you want to know what I used to do in 2002? I
No,
would, when
probably
I
not.
no. It was before I even knew you, so but I would just email myself. I had an email chain with myself called passwords, and I would just update the email myself the new password, and it was just a thread of emails of me emailing myself.
I mean, that's really creative, Elaine, but if anybody's listening and you're doing that now, please don't do that anymore. And definitely don't call it passwords.
Right? Like, the most pathetic thing, thank goodness I've evolved as a person and security measures put them in place because I would be very
Man,
hackable.
yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I've never heard of anybody doing that. You've never told me that before. That's
I have
incredible.
secrets.
I guess so. I guess so. Cat's out of the bag on that one.
Yeah, good thing we have this podcast to share those things.
Yes, yes. I don't have a story like that to share.
No, you just saved all
So
of yours in a spreadsheet for your
I
whole
just
life?
put all mine in a spreadsheet, called it passwords.
No, I know what Micah does. I'm gonna throw him under the bus. Micah says a bunch of cuss words and then just resets his password because he never saved it.
That is true. That is true. So along with this, actually that actually reminded me of something that I think would be very helpful to share in this. When you have a password vault, and we used LastPass for a while, there were some reports and security breaches with LastPass, so we moved from LastPass to 1Password,
Mhm.
and I've really enjoyed 1Password. I tended to struggle with the UI a little bit in LastPass, but I like the UI and I can navigate pretty well with 1Password. But one thing that this allows you to do is not have to I'm sure we all did it and a lot of people are still doing it is coming up with passwords that are easy to remember and then you use variations across your sites. Well, again, not the best practice. So I use a random password generator. Sometimes it's built right into like Chrome, it'll say generate, random password, stuff like that. But if you save it in a vault, if you save it in a password vault like this, then it's really easy to have every password be long and complicated and different because you don't have to remember all of that, making it much more better security practices overall.
Yeah, for yourself. I mean, think about how many passwords you have similar that you use for your bank account access, all the things that you wouldn't want somebody to get into so you can have this long random string. And on this point, that yes, there of course, there's a browser extension, there's ways to do it when you're on desktop, but there's also a mobile app so that you can access it when you're not on your computer and it's, all in the cloud, so it's all accessible and updated information. So, I've got the app on my phone, I'm able to log in and then get into the same accounts that I would need to while I'm on the move that I would just sitting at my computer all day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean this is I would say implementing this, we never looked back. I don't know how we would do it otherwise
Yeah, even
without big
personally.
security issues.
I have to have this now, so I'm not emailing myself my passwords. But on a personal standpoint, I made my parents, they're in their 70s and 80s. I made them get a password vault because my mom was writing them in a notebook. And I'm like, "Mom, if you lose this notebook," not even thinking if somebody else got access to it, just thinking for you personally, if you lost this notebook, if it actually accidentally got thrown away, what a nightmare that would be. So even personally, just thinking about how much easier life is, even if I wasn't using it for my company. And also, if we look at it from a personal, even business and personal together, a lot of us have an executive assistant. Do we really want them to have access to the password that we use for everything that they can get into? Like, even on that level, having that password safe that they have access to do what they need to do, because you don't want to roadblock them, that you're still keeping yourself secure, even if there's turnover or maybe they're sneakily trying to log into your stuff after you've let them go or something like that, that you're able to protect yourself.
Yeah. I mean, we got enough stuff to worry about while running a business and running teams. Like getting this out of the back of your head, like, ooh, man, I hope I don't lose my password notebook, or I hope somebody doesn't look at my password folder in my email.
Yeah.
Like, get it in a password vault, save it, set it up so that you have the right access rights for your team members. And it does, even working with your clients, like suggest this to your clients if they're not using it, because then they can securely share passwords and credentials to you,
Mhm.
which keeps everybody more safe.
Yeah, and one thing that I was just thinking about is utilizing the folder organization and not just creating one folder with everything in it and sharing that with everybody in your organization. You do as much as you can without without making it an administrative burden, and I wanna use that word lightly because you might feel like all of this is a burden, but, you don't wanna have 500 passwords in one folder that your entire organization has access to.
The trade-off's worth it though too. And so, I think as you're going down this path, Elaine, one point that I want to bring up ties to revenue for this. As you're scaling your organization, as you're scaling your company, as you start working with larger organizations, if they even get an inkling that you're emailing passwords or, not saving them securely or saving them in a spreadsheet or any other idea that you might have that is not secure password handling, you're risking that deal. Like, you cannot, like, we worked with a $19 billion company and we had to get extra insurance. We had to fill out all kinds of forms. We had to implement tons of security policies. We
Mhm,
had to update our handbooks. We had to do all of these things just to make sure that we were on our side protecting our clients for them to do
mhm.
business with us. And this is a very easy one that you can implement so that you are already ahead of the game.
Well, yeah. I mean, even thinking about if you are the business owner listening to this and you're carrying E&O, which I hope you are, errors and omissions, this is something that the insurance company can go and say, well, you didn't have a password vault. You weren't acting securely. This isn't our fault. You want to have these little things buttoned up because it will pay you back tenfold by having this. And Micah, you bringing up that large client that we had, I had a story I was thinking about. And so we managed 600 Instagram accounts. Well, Instagram is a unique site. At the time, you weren't able to log into like a Sprout Social to do posting, so we had to log into the individuals. I mean, this was years ago, right? So we had to log in to each Instagram and post it manually at this time. All of the passwords were saved in the password vault. And a lot of the dealerships would get so angry with us because we couldn't just send over their login information so they could log into Instagram and post things themselves. From a corporate view, that was the corporate rule of our clients. You cannot share it. And I mentioned to one of the clients she worked with, she was over like 6 or 7 dealerships. And I just mentioned to her, like, our employees don't even have the login information. We keep it in a password vault because we don't want anything to ever happen to your Instagram account to where you can't log in. Because employees do get pissed off. They do
Mhm.
backlash. So she was like, a couple of days later, we had another meeting. She goes, I realize now what you're talking about. Your employees don't even have access. Why would we, who's paid to manage this, why would I give an employee access? And it was such an epiphany of security for the dealership. Now, not everyone has that epiphany, but it really set the stage for we take this stuff seriously.
Mhm.
Your security, you having this Instagram account or whatever account for the longevity and not having an employee go and do something that they shouldn't when they're unhappy about something, they're disgruntled, and really speaks a lot for how you handle your clients.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think as people are listening to this, especially in the creative fields, in the digital fields, in the social fields, now in the AI fields, like, all of these things require integrations, API access, credentials, logins. There's a lot of this going around. Just do yourself a favor, protect it.
Yeah. So we named a couple of them. So we'll kind of summarize as, don't keep everything in a spreadsheet or emailing over login information. We love using one time secret, which is a way to just send a secure note, which could be a password and it expires. It lives securely until it's opened by the person. So that's a great one for like one off sending. You can also use the password vault to share the password. If you are using one, you can hit share, send that to the person. They can get access to it and save it in their vault. And I do think that this is a two-way thing. You wanna make sure you're sending it securely, but also the person is receiving it securely and they're not going in and putting it into a spreadsheet that they're saving.
I think that's a really good point to end on, Elaine, because if you're proactive with your clients, we have to be as well. As soon as we start engaging with the client, we have to say upfront, do not send us credit card information. Don't send that. Don't send passwords. Like, just don't send it to us. We'll give you a way to do it securely. And if you say that up front, that's just making you look a little bit more professional, definitely courteous about security and everything related to that. It just makes you look better and it protects yourself.
Yes. And we have a mastermind that we are launching where we talk about tech implementations, things to be putting in place, things to be thinking about. We have that launching soon. Contact us if you want to get on the wait list.